What's the most spontaneous trip you've ever taken? Have you ever just packed your bags and left without planning anything?
Actually, I did that once when I was traveling in Europe. I decided to break a journey in a small town in Italy instead of going straight to Rome.
That sounds amazing. I've always wanted to travel to Italy. What made you decide to break a journey there and not somewhere else?
Well, I had heard that the town was off the beaten track and that not many tourists went there, so I thought it would be a great opportunity to experience the real Italy.
That's really interesting. I've always been curious about what it means to be off the beaten track. Can you explain it to me?
It means to travel to places that are not typically visited by tourists, so you can have a more authentic experience.
I see, so it's like roughing it, but not necessarily in a bad way. You're just willing to take a few risks to have a unique experience.
Exactly, and that's what makes it so rewarding. When you set foot in a place that few people have visited, you feel like you're discovering something new.
Here's the weird part. I've always thought that roughing it meant having to sacrifice comfort, but it sounds like it can actually be a lot of fun.
It definitely can be, and it's not just about the destination, it's also about the journey. Like when you have to deal with jet lag, it can be challenging.
Jet lag is the worst. I've had some terrible experiences with it, but I've learned that it's just part of traveling, and you have to be prepared for it.
That's true, and most learners get the concept of jet lag completely wrong. They think it's just about sleeping a lot, but it's actually about adjusting your body to a new time zone.
Today we're going to talk about 3 things that will help you improve your English skills when traveling abroad. First, we'll discuss how to deal with jet lag, then we'll explore what it means to be off the beaten track.
And finally, we'll talk about how to make the most of your sightseeing experiences, including how to rough it and still have a great time.
Most learners think that sightseeing is just about visiting famous landmarks, but it's actually about experiencing the culture and way of life of the place you're visiting.
Here's the weird part: when you're sightseeing, you often have to break a journey to get to your destination, and that's where the real adventure begins.
I love that, and it's so true. When you're traveling, you have to be prepared for anything, and that includes dealing with unexpected challenges.
Like when you have to rough it and don't have access to the comforts you're used to, but that's all part of the experience.
So, let's talk about some common mistakes that learners make when traveling abroad. One of the biggest mistakes is not being prepared for jet lag.
That's right, and another mistake is not being open to new experiences, like trying new foods or visiting places that are off the beaten track.
Here's the weird part: when you're traveling, you often have to set foot in unfamiliar places, and that can be intimidating, but it's also exhilarating.
It's all about being willing to take risks and try new things, and that's what makes traveling so rewarding. You get to experience new cultures and ways of life.
And it's not just about the places you visit, it's also about the people you meet, and the experiences you have along the way.
Like when you have to break a journey and spend the night in a small town, you never know who you're going to meet or what's going to happen.
So, to summarize, we've talked about how to deal with jet lag, how to be off the beaten track, and how to make the most of your sightseeing experiences.
And we've also discussed how to rough it and still have a great time, and how to set foot in unfamiliar places with confidence.
Now, let's put it all together. Imagine you're traveling to a new country, and you have to break a journey in a small town. You decide to rough it and stay in a local hostel.
And then you set foot in the town and start exploring. You visit some local landmarks and try some of the local food, and you even meet some of the locals.
That sounds like an amazing experience, and it's exactly what we've been talking about today. So now it's your turn. Today's challenge is to use one of the phrases we've discussed in a sentence.
If you enjoyed this conversation, subscribe for daily English practice, and don't forget to tune in tomorrow when we'll be discussing a new topic.
Tomorrow we'll be talking about how to improve your English skills in a business setting, so be sure to join us for that, and don't forget to use the phrase "off the beaten track" in your sentence.